Are you guys back again here with Midweek Meta? I'm Maddie, or AKA Dreads, if you ever run into me. I got my best, I would say my best Magda player slash Kinnan slash I don't know anymore, which is a slight update to what's coming we're going to talk about. But
Absolutely.
Chris here. If you've been on the internet at all, if you've seen anything in the last 24 hours, some crazy things just happened, Chris. I want to talk about these four cards and
Sure.
our quick update to the ban and restriction in Commander.
So, Maddie, read us off the cards, why they're important, how do
Yeah,
they
no,
affect the meta's tempo, and what you wanted to see that was banned and what you saw that you didn't want banned and why.
no, absolutely. So,
Sure.
the four cards that were banned were Dockside Extortionist, which I'm going to be a weird one here. I am a devil's advocate. I wanted it banned because A, it can change the game in such an explosive way, but you don't see it as much in casual until
Sure.
you are in those later games, I feel like. But again, things are
Not
speeding up. We'll
not
get
really,
more
yeah.
into that. I have my little white whale paper again. I got my little update, so we'll get
Midweek
there.
meta.
But it changed the game in such a way which is very explosive,
Sure.
which I understand. But I also, it's like, it just shot a lot of decks in the foot,
Sure.
and then the kneecap, and then the other foot, and then the other kneecap. So
It
you just see this like limp body on the ground now. But the other card we have is Jeweled Lotus.
mm,
Great card, 0 mana, give you 3 colors, get your commander out. Super cool. Which, speaking of little peek, great Malcolm card,
it is.
which how has that affected? Oh, don't worry, we can just use mana. Oh, hold on. It's saying Mana Crypt's banned too. Oop.
So bad. Oh
Oh
man.
no. Okay. Well, we're gonna put a pin in that because that Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus. Okay, that I'm not gonna say those are format staples, but what other format can you play those two in?
Uh, Not too many. Mana Crypt definitely heavily played in our format. In the Invitational, it was all 64 decks that were there played Mana Crypt. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say pretty bad.
Yeah, and I like that wrong. There are some things, and we'll get into that. But this is the one that I 100% agree with. I have nothing to issue with it,
Yep.
and the reason why is the same reason other cards get banned, and this is what I think the rules committee should do. Nadu, Winged Wisdom
Mm.
is banned. It was already banned in pretty much every format. Modern, Modern. It got banned very heavily in Modern. I don't know every format,
Yep.
but the fact that they already saw that fast, because Modern Horizon 3 literally came out
June.
June, you
Yep.
said,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in September. It's 3 months,
It's a quick turnaround. Yep.
and like I get it, it was cool, and it was in my Najila deck, so I'm also not too upset because I'm not gonna play Najila anymore. But that is the one card, and I think you agree. It was nasty to play against,
I
but it was the non-deterministic wins was the worst part about it.
Sure.
And even if you were a good pilot, sometimes it was still like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And you know what I mean? It happens.
Yeah.
It does. But with those four, the biggest thing I got to ask you, how do you feel on a quick level before we dive into this?
Sure. Quick level. Nice quick minute. Nadu, been saying it since day one. This thing needs to be banned. It's disgusting. It's overpowered. You can board wipe. You can Wrath of God. You can destroy all artifacts, enchantments. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have 8 lands and you're playing your Nadu again. You're playing your whatever spell from hand that you drew because you drew 20 cards last turn, essentially. Not drew, but so for me, it's clear as day that thing was just too strong, and they didn't realize how well it worked. Dockside, great card. Won't be missing it outside of when I'm in 4th seat, realistically. That's about the only thing is I don't know of any other catch-up mechanic, realistically, in anything that lets you, okay, 4th seat is already really posed pretty bad to win the game. People have talked about different points in general of like, hey, maybe you should get more points if you win in fourth, or if you lose in fourth, you don't lose as many points, or so on and so forth. Might be able to help it out. I would definitely say that with getting rid of that one piece that helps fourth place come back, maybe first place doesn't draw. That's what I would have to say, and try to level out the playing field. The other two, the two artifacts, I would say are pretty detrimental to a couple different game plans in general. Slows down the meta. Okay, cool. Magda doesn't care, realistically. Got rid of three out of the 4 cards, and I never needed Dockside. Not really. Does it help me just win the game sometimes? Yeah, but I can get rid of some other cards I really didn't need that were slowing down those pieces now to slow down different pieces. So I'm good on that. The one that I'm really the most upset about realistically is Jeweled Lotus. I think for inclusion in the game, you might have stopped some decks from being viable. You used to play Atraxa. That's not probably coming around realistically. So then that affects a couple different things in the meta. Clones might not be as played. You can play more enchantments. Super excited. You can play artifact lands. We were talking about Mox Hobel before the podcast started. Hey, maybe artifact lands. Maybe you play 1 or 2 here and there, because outside of Null Rod getting it shut off, it's kind of good and does speed you up in certain aspects. So maybe you see Rogside play some basic artifact lands to turn on Metalcraft. Kind of interesting, kind of intriguing. Who knows? That's my quick hot take. That's my quick take on all of it. A little bit longer than expected, but there's a lot to say about. The cards they picked. It's kind of interesting. They're doing a petition to try and reverse it. We've been already given a chance to start an RC if we really wanted to. We got shut down. I think realistically, let's promote within if that's really what people want to do, and get some elections, start a committee to basically say, hey, people, we're the committee that are going to determine who's partial and impartial that can run and who can't run, kind of thing. Hey, you're CEO of TopDeck.gg. Sorry, you're kind of invested. You can't run unless you step down, kind of thing. No different than like the presidency. Like, hey, United States of America, you can't own so much of a company and be the president. You have to step down, or you can't be president. So if it's good enough for our judicial system, I don't see why it wouldn't be a good thing of electing from the community and saying these are the people that got the most votes, and these are our top 5 people. They are our new RC. Outside of that, there's no way to go about it.
No, absolutely, I agree with that, and I appreciate. Oh, so last one real quick, Nadu. I agree. We're probably on the same page. That's fine to get banned. It was
banned all day.
It was, yeah, and I hate to say it, it was almost on the same level. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a scary oh my god, it's such a scary commander, but it was the non-deterministic that you couldn't shortcut the win. I hate to say it, and that sounds weird, but if you can't. And there's sometimes you can't. It's like Get Rog Monster, you can't shortcut it. There's some things you can do with some people.
Yeah. Kark and Sakashima, yeah. Same.
Yeah, and it happens, but it's just like, Nadu is such a point, like, hey, I remove it. Okay, well, I just flipped the land.
Yep.
Or you flip a Mana Crypt, or you flip something. Well, I just paid for that tax. Okay. So there goes everything I just used to get rid of it. But and that's glad. I'm glad the rules committee did step on that one. I wish, and I guess a good pivot point to where we kind of talk about this. Dockside, I'm glad it's gone. As I said earlier, I was a little bit of devil's advocate here, but I now can play more enchantments. I can play more artifacts. I can play artifact lands, like you said.
Yeah.
And that was like big mind blown there. Artifact lands are now a thing again, and it's like,
can we abuse that?
Yeah, can we abuse that? Like, there's untapped ways for artifacts, but we'll get more into that later on when we look at different decks. But it was that was the card I could see the way the rules committee talked about it was the correct way it could change the game so much. And normally it was very power level balanced. Like when you drop to a lower pod, Dockside at turn 3 wasn't going to net you 8 mana. No. It might net you 3 if you're lucky. So now that it's gone, okay, cool. We'll see what happens. But those casual games got to the point where they had more artifacts. They had other things where this dockside could come out. Turn 3 now was pushing those faster games. And I pulled it up, and you might want to screenshot it. It's up to you here if you want to, but
Sure.
I'm going to read it. But I pulled it up here. The way they talk about it, dockside, taking, it was always net positive if someone had two artifacts or 3. Like, it was easy to do.
Sure.
So good. Ban that card. But then they talk about Mana Crypt and how it was
Turn
how
5.
the balance. Turn 5, it was you take the damage and you could lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can find the passage real here. Yeah, so they talk about winning from turn 11, 13, or 12. That 3 damage could be 36 damage. You could die from that. But now we're pushing 5 to 6 turn 8 wins, and they're like, oh, that's only 15, 18, 20 damage. That's nothing.
Sure.
But the dockside being gone, now I can run more. And if you look over here, I can kind of see this. I got stacks of cards that I'm going through, which, look, I'm a Mana Crypt. I'm getting rid of it. But I have to now go through my 3 main decks, which were Marnie's Kalgor, Rocco, and Najeela. Well, Najeela's gone. I understand that one.
Sure.
I'm gonna tear apart. There was
How do you feel
no
about
reason.
How do you feel about Rocco right now?
I'm gonna play with it.
Okay.
I don't think I have the speed that I had before. It might be more stacksy now. I might have to pivot that way.
Interesting. Yeah.
We did talk a little bit off podcast about this. Maybe going to Blood Pod, and maybe I'll reach out to Rich on that. But I have a hard one with that. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like that format and that style, but
Yeah.
I want to see if I can make something work with Rocco, because you've seen I was working my other combo lines with Abzan Mir, the Assassin's Creed card,
Sure.
where historic permanence, and hey, squeeze legendary, I cast it indefinitely, oh, it's a historic permanent,
Okay.
and I can win.
Yeah.
So maybe I pivot off of the whole infinite mana meal lines that way and go somewhere else, back to the whole food chain, and come out from the dark. From I get that's the joke you can make maybe here. Maybe you can clip this. All these decks are now going to rise from the dead because we can play cards that Dockside said no, we couldn't, because we didn't want to feed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were talking earlier about certain decks just dying or whatever, and it's like, no, those decks were held up by it. It's another way to look at it entirely. And
100%.
Yeah.
And when I say die, that's what I mean. It's like they're dying because that life support was there, and now it's like gone. They're like, very much cartoonish. They just drop. So, but the Mana Crypt one, the Dockside, I will definitely advocate. But it also, I will be sad because it now made those decks that were kind of fringe, that were a little weird, be able to go. But now you're like, okay, what are you gonna do? Because you also just lost Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. Jeweled Lotus is a hard one because it's like literally that card was made for this format.
Yep.
How do you ban that? Like, that just seems a little petty, but also if Wizards was kind of a little bit more decent with it and made it maybe a rare, it would be a little bit different, you know what I mean? Because it's so... I understand them coming at it more of a casual mindset where I want to play the game, not your wallet. Well, okay, I get that, but how many decks, though? Like you said, Atraxa, I can rebuild Atraxa, and I'm thinking I kind of want to, just to kind of see if people are ready for it.
More
but also,
enchantments.
That's totally what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I also, which I can say over here, where they at? I got Tim Natana I'm working on over here. I'm trying to build something.
Yep, it seems very interesting to come back. That was one deck that I was like, okay, interesting.
Another one that's interesting is the Abzan list. Do I go back heavy stacks that way? Because I'm like, okay, I can put all these roll off X and we'll see. But that's just that's something we're gonna look into, because that's something that's gonna come down the road.
With games getting slower potentially, right? With the games getting slower, do you really want to be taking the games longer with the stacks-esque deck? And that's kind of where that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's why I want to go with my Kadama list, because I can break the parity to it.
Okay.
That was the point to it. I wouldn't go full on stacks unless I have that secondary underline with.
Sure.
Like, I don't mean to mean, but if you just run a stacks deck right now and don't have like Rich said, Kiki Jiki lines, you don't have your loop lines that you went through, but you just run stacks, you're like, okay, we just slowed the game down a bunch, and now you just locked us out of one land
Sure.
taps a turn. But yeah, well, that's more of a little bit more later meta update we'll get more into as we see, because I hope to kind of give an update a little bit quicker of what just changed, because we are all expecting this at the end of next month. All of us are like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a month early, but okay. One final question I want to get into this with you real quick.
Sure.
How do you feel on a financial side here? I know we're very heavy on the proxy. We've always said that, but I know some of us have collected some of these cards because of art, styles, and now they're not worthless. But watching some of these drops down, I saw a dockside for like $29. Like what? Like that's like first initial pre-con days. You know what I mean?
So
And
it's quite interesting coming from 60 card format to CEDH. I'm used to bans. I'm used to this thing getting banned, that thing getting banned. It happens. It hurts. Definitely for sure, people that aren't used to it, it hurts a lot more because they're like, I bought these things with an assurity. It's like, but you didn't. I get it's an eternal format. Legacy is an eternal format, and guess what? They ban stuff there too. It does happen.
yeah.
Financially, yes, it does hurt. Some of the more expensive things I've gotten are art pieces now, and that's what they're going to be. I don't regret buying them. I got my use out of them. The biggest thing, as always, what I do personally is if I can't afford it, I will get the card. And then for all my other decks, I will get proxies for those other ones. It does not make sense to spend $600 on 3 mana crypts. And some people do that, and that's their own business, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
And power to them, 100%. I'm gonna say power to you if you do that. I'm in that same boat. Like I can literally show you. I've got one. All 3.
Yep.
Different like versions, but like they're all proxies. Like they're not real. I have a real version sitting somewhere, but I'm here to play a game and want to try different decks out real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't want to switch out my main deck that has my, like you said, your Magda that has your pretty cards, which you guys, if you check out Chris's Magda list from last episode, it has, you got it all right, the right arts, right? It's all matched. Like you have your masterpieces and all that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. You'll see, he's got really pretty cards. We watched Bruce. He opened it up and he showed me. He's like, I don't feel comfortable playing this, and I was like, don't worry, just sell Dax. It's not to him.
I mean, sometimes you gotta bling out your favorite decks. Sometimes you're about it, and I just know that's one of the decks that I want to continue to play and to master. It's helped me out with politics in general because it doesn't have blue. It's definitely grown me as a Magic player and definitely a CDH player in general. So I think it was worth every penny I paid for it. And cool, some of the cards are banned. Super excited for what's coming forward. Can't cry over spilt milk, and the show goes on.
Which, there's 2 things I want to hear about rumors. I'm going to say this right now, and you can, like, alert us out here. Rumor. This isn't been out said. Their supposed possible allegation is because LCI and Commander Masters are no longer in print now. They're officially out. They did this.
And
so it's like,
it's
almost like, it's like a cash grab almost. I don't agree with it. Like I saw some posts I was reading through Reddit, some Twitter lines, and it's like, okay, show me some evidence, like actual, like I want to see like true financial data talking about this, and that's almost the allegations. But if that's true, that's like you said, the rules committee, if they're doing something like this and talking like behind the scenes, okay, drop all your packs, drop all that's not cool. Like that ruins it for all of us.
It would be very interesting. It's insider trading, and it happens all the time, even within the United States government, even though they say it doesn't. It's hard.
100%.
It's hard to prove anything against it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Live your life, enjoy your life. Can't control everyone else. You can control your perspective on the game. You can control your perspective of your friends. And that, and just keep jamming games realistically.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to end on that is WotC going to come out. Like I know they posted it on their website. It's because the Commander website crashed. I remember I was at work when someone one of my casual friends hit me with a screenshot of the ban list. He's like, "Yo, this is news just posted 30 minutes ago," and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy," because it's um, like I don't mean it mean. It's like I get where they're coming from. Like 100%, I can each card they talk about. There is a way they make sense, but the one that kind of bugs me the most, and I'm gonna say it, is the Mana Crypt Jewel Lotus. Those cards have been around for so long now. What's different than that in Soul Ring? They even say that, and I wanna talk about that. They even talk. This will be kind of our end point here. They're not banning Soul Ring, and they have no desire to.
Sure.
And 100%, there's two ways you can look at it. Well, yeah, they're not going to ban it because every WotC Commander product has a Soul Ring in it. So they're going to make every Commander deck illegal out of the box.
Pretty much.
They can't do that. So that 100% makes sense. But also, the reasoning they banned Mana Crypt is because it pushed people so far fast forward. So does Soul Ring. Turn 1 land, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Okay, yeah, you can't do turn 1 land, Mana Crypt, Talisman. Tap land and talisman for another talisman. Sure. Oh, cool. I'll tell you right now. In CDH, I don't know Commander. I don't really pay attention to that anymore. I have not seen that combo in CDH. Have you?
Kinnan. I do it often in Kinnan. I do it very often in Kinnan.
I guess Kinnan. That. Speaking of that,
yeah,
which is a great way to we can pivot here a little bit to the pros to this. Are we going to see different decks now become the new meta? Because I hope that's the one positive. I'll take right now. I might sound negative about some of these, but the one positive I want to see, can we shake up the meta here? Because I'm sorry, Adam, Rockslide needs to get its ass kicked. And if you want to believe that out, you can. But it can't be the top deck anymore. I want to mix it up. I want 2025 to look different. I want to see a Selesnya deck on top, man.
Dampening Sphere. Just everyone play Dampening Sphere.
I know. I got a foil one. I don't know if I told you that. Yeah. I pulled a foil one. I'm like,
Dampening Sphere shuts off a lot of those different decks in general. Anything in white in general, once again, is going to have a good amount of stacks. All your artifacts come in tapped. I think Drannith Magistrate is going to see a resurgence entirely because normally you can't get that out turn 1, so they play all their rocks, so they play their commander, and then they're off to the races, and then you are not able to stack some out of it. Whereas now, cool, turn 1, land, turn 2, another land, Drannith Magistrate, depending on turn order, you might not be getting your thing out. So definitely a concern for me on these commanders that I wanted to get out turn 1, turn 2, and now I think Drannith Magistrate shuts off some lines for that deck as well, for Rogsai. I think Drannith Magistrate will definitely see an uptick in general. That's my guess. Could be horribly wrong. I think obviously artifacts are going to go up because there's no one really stopping you because there's still Orcish Bowmasters. If there's no Orcish Bowmasters, cool. Then we go back to green being pretty dang good in general. And then obviously Collector Oof is going to see an uptick, and No Rod will see an uptick as well, I believe. Maybe even Stony Silence.
That's a great point. The points you make in there. One thing I want to look at is, though, like we said, the meta shift up, and one thing I hate to say it, CEDH is going to adapt. It's going to happen, and there is the rumor of the splintering. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to pick sides here. I'm not going to say, I want it, I don't want it, but no matter what, we're going to adapt. We're going to pull up Friday. We're going to pull out our decks, and I'm sorry if someone says, who got Mana Crypt in here? I'm playing with it. I don't believe in it. Okay, you're not playing. But it's banned. It's effective. Unless WotC comes out and says, no, that's not cool.
Which that'd be undermining their entire people. They're not going to do it. The worst they're going to do is
if they do that, they have to come out with their own ban list. Correct? You know what I mean? Like once they announce that, they're like, okay, well, what's your ban list, WotC? What's your commander ban list? And if they don't have one, I guess we're in a weird Wild West. So, but the one thing we're gonna adapt. It's how we always play CDH. The meta's gonna change, and I'm glad about that. I'm glad it's not us. I wish it was us with new cards from Wizard saying, "Oh man, look at this cool Fear of Missing Out," which that was the crazy thing I was thinking about it in Rocco, because it goes infinite with Kiki if you have enough cards.
Yes.
which that
And
like that's just crazy there. Like there's some cars from Dustmore. Like don't get me wrong, it's not the greatest. It looks really cool. I'm gonna say that. Nice job on the art, Wizard.
yep.
I'm gonna give you 100% on that. It looks awesome. I enjoy it, but I feel like we got more CEDH cards out of the Bloomborough set. I didn't mean to say that. Don't strike me down, copyright. but um, but as we shift over here, we kind of talked about it in our first episode, and you played it. I saw it on Sunday, and I'm excited to see more of it. Malcolm plus X partner, which right now you're on Grixis.
Yes.
So we got the red and black. You're gonna talk about that. You sent me with the task on white. What does white add to Malcolm?
Sure.
Because Malcolm is a card that is so versatile. It comes down for 3 mana, deals damage, makes you a treasure. It's flying, evasion.
Yes.
Jump up on screen.
Yep. When it deals damage to an opponent, and any pirate deals damage to opponent, it makes
Okay,
a treasure.
any pirate.
Yeah. So it's no ETB. No ETB. I wish that'd be great.
Oh no, my bad.
No,
I'm sorry. I haven't played with Malcolm, so which you pointed out in the intro over here.
Yeah.
It might be a deck we get into, which when you set me on my task here as we talk about this, which you guys we're not experts. I don't have every card memorized. Chris here doesn't. We do homework on this, and if anyone's telling you they don't, okay, cool. I hope we have a lot of cards memorized. I'm not gonna say we don't, but we have to look at different things because when we get cards wrong, we look embarrassed. But tell us, hey, if we say something wrong, please comment that. Hey,
Please
say, hey, that's not how that works. That we're all learning here, and like I said, the biggest thing adapting. But back to again, Malcolm here. You've got the Gristic side. We're gonna talk about that. I got the white. What does white add to it? And you kind of gave me an idea. I'm thinking a Bruce Tarl Malcolm list, a Jeskai list.
Okay.
Like I'm brewing it. It's cooking.
Okay.
As a callback, it's cooking. But we'll get more into that. But again, guys, I'm excited to keep this meta midweek update with you guys. Quick update here on the bands and what's going on and what we feel on what's going to happen. Come catch us again. We'll see you guys next week. Again, my name is Maddie, aka Dreads. I got my co-host here, Chris. You guys find us on X, Facebook, Instagram. We got posts. We're working on making some shorts. So if you got any ideas, let us know. And also, if you have any cool ideas for Malcolm decks or any ideas for some spice for Bruce Tarl, or let me know, because red white's not really like I've got it in Naya, but like thinking of what I'm gonna do with it with Bruce Tarl, I'm like, Dockside's gone. What do I do over here? So I guess we're gonna see.
Absolutely.
But you guys, be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you next week in the midweek update.
Take it easy.